What is up, race fans? It's your boy No Shoes coming at you live with this midweek update video for the New York Metagross. This is a big update video, but we've had some roster changes. They won't go into effect this week, week 3. They'll go into effect next week in week 4. Due to league rules and stuff, they won't actually go into effect until next week. But I wanted to go ahead and update you that we were making these changes. And I'm gonna go ahead and update and explain why I did this. So the why is not real hard to figure out. I'm so far 0-2 this season with a negative 12 differential, which is exactly as worse as you can possibly be. So and I don't think it's because of my play or my prep. I think it's because I drafted this team with a sort of a tunnel of how things are going to get done this season. There's no real flexibility. Everything has to go through the same path in order for me to win. And I decided that wasn't working out at all, which clearly it isn't. But I decided I really need to change and go away from that. And part of this change was brought about because I talked to a few people and saw a few things that I really wanted in draft anyways, but just didn't fit that team composition. But the real big reason why I did this is, again, it comes back to it's that tunnel. I got to get away from the tunnel, and I got to get something else going here. This is a long season, but I'm 2 weeks in. I'm already negative 12. I'm already at the very bottom. Can't get any lower. Already counted out. So I've got to mix it up, and I've got to get myself going in the right direction, getting some wins. Hopefully we'll get a win this week. I've got some great prep yet again, but again, it all comes back. There's this tunnel that I've got to go through in order to get my wins, and I'm changing that this week. Starting next week, I'm changing that. But let's hop right into it. The first change and the second biggest change to me is we traded G-Max Lapras for Mega Blaziken. So I mentioned in the draft video, and I've been real ashamed of myself for not doing it, but I had the 3rd overall pick. And I took G-Max Lapras because I wanted to run my team a certain direction, and I tunneled it out. And I'm really ashamed of myself because I've always wanted to use Mega Blaziken in draft. Always. I've petitioned in other leagues that kind of were more lenient on things to let it be allowed in. And here it is sitting on the draft board, undrafted. And I was like, you know what? I'm 0-2. I can't get any worse than this. The first 3 picks that I was going to take with the Mega Blaziken pick, if I went that route, we're still on the board, I'm going after it. I'm doing it. It's over. It's done. And I went out and I got Mega Blaziken. So the big thing about Mega Blaziken is for speed tiers, it kind of, the way this ends up working out, it doesn't really help my speed tiers the way I work this out. I still cover all my speed tiers, but it really kind of hurts my speed tiers a little, in my opinion, a little bit. But this Mega Blaziken, a little bit of an order stipulation. He can't use Protect, he can't use setup moves, and he can't baton pass out. Now that baton pass out is the clear definer there. Meaning, I have a few other mons that have baton pass. I can baton pass setup stuff into him. Just can't baton pass it back out. That's kind of their way to nerf him so he's not so OP. I think it's a little much. I understand, but I do think it's a little much. It was kind of what originally deterred me from drafting him anyways. But I'm going after him. I've always liked to use Blaziken in everything that I've done. My Uber team, when he first came out as a Mega, was based solely around him for a while. And then before I changed it up. But what it is, his speed tier, so this speed tier goes up because Lapras is only 60, but this speed tier goes up from 60 to 80 and then up to 100 when I Mega Evolve, while including speed boost. So that makes Mega Blaziken really effective because he has that speed boost, and he can alter the tiers a whole lot because of it. And he uses it like he has one after Mega Evolving, he has 160 attack, 130 special attack, and then the 100 base speed, and then he gets speed boost. Things do not want to mess with this. And I have what I feel like is probably the most scariest Pokemon. Firefighting are great offensive typings. Not a lot is going to want to switch into this thing. And the best part, the best counter in my opinion to this thing, overall, period, the end, the best counter to this thing is the next transaction I made. So Azumarill is a water fairy type, which resists both of his stabs. Yeah, so is Primarina, but Azumarill, in my opinion, is the only. It gets Aqua Jet and hits a lot harder with that huge power to kind of instantly knock out that Mega Blaziken. But I've got it. This is where where I keep talking about how my speed tiers hurt. This is kind of where I feel like they hurt. I am losing Hawlucha in this transaction, and it does hurt because that 118 speed tier, as you'll see this week in this week's match, because I've already prepped and already got that ready to go. I've just got to record the video, but the 118 Hawlucha speed tier is really crucial to my game plan going forward in this week. But I now have an offensive fairy type. So fairy type to me is the best type in the game offensively because poison types and steel types are the only two types that resist it. And I think technically it resists itself, but that's neither here nor there. But steel types, they're mostly defensive. But poison types, they're far and few between. And steel types, even though they're mostly defensive and will come in on if you're only worrying about one type, then you don't have much to worry about. So I really like fairy types, and I really like having that offensive fairy type in my Dragon Steel core, and having a Azumarill as an offensive fairy type really, really helps a lot. On top of that, I have used this thing a ton. I've drafted it in 3 different seasons for 2 different leagues. I have used it on all my ladder teams that I've ever made, at least at start. I've switched it in and out before, but to start, I always try to use Azumarill in any ladder team that I've tried to use. This thing I know how to use. Not to give away too much, but I have an Assault Vest set, I have Sap Sipper set, I have Normalium Z set, which I can't use Z moves still because I do have the Mega Blaziken. But I mean, this thing, I have so many different sets for it. It was my kill leader for a season. This thing is going to be huge to my team, and it's going to be scary. And teams are going to have to prep for it so hard because I so well know it. The third pick that I was going to take if I had done the Mega Blaziken in the original draft, again, it was still there too. So while I'm making all these transactions, I went ahead and I scooped up Crocodile. So by getting Mega Blaziken, I don't need a fire type anymore because my fire type is Mega Blaziken. So having Arcanine on the team is just kind of double redundant. And plus, since I lost to Lucha, I don't have any real good ground resist. And adding an extra ground weakness, I really needed to shore that up. I thought about going with Cresselia here, but when I look back at it, not a lot of things really get fairy type coverage that well, but a lot of things can get psychic type coverage. There's a lot of mons that get Zen Headbutt for no reason. There's a lot of mons that get psychic for just for fun. And so with Mega Blaziken being the staple of the team now, I really needed something to counteract all that psychic coverage that these guys are going to be running and kind of deter it from bringing psychic type coverage, and that's what Crook's in here for. He's a dark type. Dark type that is immune to the psychics. And another big thing that he does, he takes the rocks pressure off of a mon that's going to come every week. So like this Crook and Lycanroc are both mons that could come every week. Period. I don't need a whole lot of different sets for them. Standard sets, they can come and they can do some damage. But if I have to sacrifice, say for Lycanroc, if I have to sacrifice like an Elemental Fang for Stealth Rocks, so that I have rocks in that game, it really struggles then. And that's what Crook does. Crook allows, if, say I need Crook to be more offensive, I can bring Stealth Rocks on Lycanroc and vice versa. So it doesn't lock in that I have to have Lycanroc run rocks every week. Because, I mean, Golurk's there, but I'm not going to run Golurk every week. Golurk is more of a plug-and-play mon. Has a good matchup this week against, say, Mega Zam. Or bring it against Mega Zam, or I'll bring it, Golurk's like that plug-and-play. But Crook and Lycanroc, I could bring any week, every day, and nothing's going to really bringing rocks on one of the two, and things are going to start to struggle with it. But again, by dropping Hawlucha, I lose that immunity to ground types. So I had to go in and I had to look at my team. I only get 4 free agent transactions. I've already used 3 just straight off the bat, and I wanted the 4th one to count. And I figured the best way to make it count is by getting that ground immunity. And I searched and searched, and didn't really need to get rid of Lycanroc. He's still viable. Decidueye is my only grass type, so can't really get rid of it. And then it came down to basically Florges and Pincurchin and Golurk as to which mon was getting the dump. And I went ahead and I just picked the one that I'm not nearly as familiar with and I'm not using really well, and I have so much I don't need the terrain anymore, so there's no real reason for it to be on the team because I have spikes, I have T-spikes, and I went and got Electros out of Tier 4. So this gives me a Levitate Mon, gives me another Mon like Silvally that's great for pivoting and getting in and out of situations. And this really helps with that ground weakness because of the Levitate ability. But, I mean, Electros is another one of those Mons. I've used it before. You can run it defensively. You can run it offensively. It's going to be really, really good in the overall grand scheme of things. And I'm really excited to have it back on the team. But this ultimately ends any chance that I'm going to have for any more free agencies. Unless I make a trade, and I don't see myself making any big trades, this is the squad we are going to run with for the entirety of the rest of the season. Golurk stayed, Duraludon stayed, Decidueye stayed. Those were the only other 3 mons that I really would have considered getting rid of. Maybe Florges, but I really felt like I needed Florges for Wish. But yeah, so this is the squad that we're sticking with now. And let me tell you something, I'm really excited, and I feel so sorry for my Week 4 opponent, especially if I lose in Week 3, because I'm going to go ham with this new squad, and I'm going to get a win this season, probably in Week 4 with this squad. But that's the roster update video for y'all. The battle is going to happen over the weekend. I haven't set an exact date yet, but hit the like button and subscribe and get ready for the rest of the JLPC.